Imagine spending years preparing for your dream career, only to be told you're not good enough. Worse, imagine being told that not because you lacked skill, but simply because someone believed people like you would never succeed. Now imagine turning that failure into the very thing that would one day place you in a position of leadership, above the very person who doubted you. This is the story of a Filipino nurse who was failed on purpose by her German professor, humiliated in front of her classmates, underestimated in every possible way. Yet just 2 years later, she walked into a German hospital as their new head nurse, and that same professor found himself standing beside her, shocked, embarrassed, and forced to acknowledge the truth he tried so hard to suppress. But how did all of this happen? What kind of strength does a person need to transform rejection into leadership? And would you have the courage to do the same if you were in her place? As you watch, think about that. And if this story inspires you already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs encouragement today. Our story begins with Angela, a 26-year-old Filipina nurse from Quezon City. She had always dreamed of working abroad. Not for fame, not even for money, but for the chance to grow, to challenge herself, and to uplift her family. She believed nursing was not just a job. It was her calling. And like so many Filipino healthcare workers, she had the heart, discipline, and resilience to make that calling real. When she finally arrived in Germany, everything felt overwhelming. The language, the weather, the culture, even the smell of the hospital hallways felt unfamiliar, but she embraced it all with optimism. She was excited to begin her required adaptation course, a training program led by German medical instructors to prepare foreign nurses for professional practice in the country. It was during this program that she met the man who would become both her greatest obstacle and, indirectly, her greatest motivation, Professor Helmut Krantz. Professor Krantz was known for being strict. That alone wasn't the problem. Strict teachers can be great teachers. But from the moment Angela walked into his classroom, the way he looked at her was different. Cold, dismissive, almost annoyed. She didn't know why at first, until little hints, small comments, tone, body language, began to reveal his true attitude. He believed foreign nurses, especially those from Southeast Asia, were not competent enough for German medical standards. One morning, during a clinical demonstration, Angela volunteered to perform a procedure. She had done it hundreds of times in the Philippines. But Professor Krantz stood behind her, arms folded, watching her with a sharp, almost mocking stare. No matter how carefully she moved, no matter how correct her steps were, he found something to criticize. When she finished, he simply shook his head and said, "You are not ready. Maybe your country has different standards. But here, this is unacceptable." The room went silent. Angela felt her throat tighten. She wasn't perfect, but she knew she wasn't incompetent. Her classmates looked uncomfortable, but no one dared to speak. Still, she pushed forward. She studied every night. She practiced every skill until her hands were steady and confident. She reviewed German medical terms until she could think in them. But when exam day came, everything collapsed. Even though she performed every procedure correctly, even though she answered every question with precision, Professor Krantz marked her failing. Not low, not borderline, failing. Angela was devastated. She asked him why. His answer was chilling in its honesty. "You should look for work somewhere else. Filipinos come here thinking they can meet our standards, but many cannot. You are not suited for nursing in Germany." That sentence broke her, but only for a moment. She later said that night was the lowest point of her life. She cried alone in her small apartment, wondering if she should just go home, give up the dream, and accept defeat. But then she thought of her parents, the sacrifices they made, the faith they had in her, and the patients she had cared for back home with compassion and skill. She asked herself a question I want you to think about too. Have you ever been judged unfairly, and did you let that judgment define you? Tell me in the comments. How did you rise above it? Or how do you wish you had responded? That night, something changed inside her. She realized that a single person's prejudice couldn't decide her future. If she was going to succeed, it wouldn't be because someone opened the door for her. It would be because she built the door herself. Angela requested reassessment through another instructor. She trained harder than ever, studied twice as much, and worked part-time in a caregiving home to continue improving her German and her skills. She passed the reassessment with flying colors, a score of 96%. Outstanding, objective, undeniable. She soon secured a job at a mid-sized regional hospital. At first, she was nervous. New environment, new expectations, new pressures. But unlike the professor, the staff here valued competence, teamwork, and dedication. And Angela delivered all of that day after day. She became known for her efficiency and her kindness. Patients loved her. Families praised her. Her co-workers trusted her. And her supervisors noticed something special: her natural ability to lead. She didn't force authority. She earned it. She guided new nurses with patience. She solved problems calmly. She communicated clearly. In less than a year, she was promoted to team leader for her ward. Around this time, the hospital began searching for a new head nurse, someone experienced, someone skilled, someone capable of overseeing all nursing operations. The management observed Angela closely, not because she was the most senior, not because she was the oldest, but because she stood out, not through arrogance, but through consistent excellence. After multiple evaluations, interviews, and leadership tests, Angela received news she never expected. She had been selected as the hospital's new head nurse. She was shocked, grateful, and deeply emotional. But nothing could have prepared her for what came next. Shortly after her promotion, the hospital scheduled a professional development seminar for medical staff taught by external experts. Angela looked at the name of one of the invited lecturers, Professor Helmut Kranz. Yes, that Professor Kranz. The same man who failed her, the same man who told her she would never belong in Germany's nursing profession, the same man who tried to crush her confidence. When he arrived at the hospital, Angela greeted him professionally. Calm, polite, confident. She was wearing her head nurse badge. He recognized her immediately. His face froze, not with anger, but with shock. Perhaps even regret. "Fräulein Santos?" he said cautiously. You work here now?" Angela smiled kindly and replied, "Yes, Professor. I'm the head nurse." He was silent for several seconds. Those who were there say he looked away, embarrassed. He had judged her not by skill but by stereotype, and he had been proven wrong in the most undeniable way. But Angela didn't humiliate him. She didn't remind him of what he had done. Instead, she thanked him for coming and treated him with professionalism and respect. She later said that success is not about revenge, but about rising so high that negativity cannot reach you anymore. Here's something to think about. If you had the chance to confront someone who underestimated you, would you show them they were wrong, or would you simply let your success speak for itself? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you would do. Throughout the seminar, Professor Kranz watched Angela work, organize, command her team, and interact with staff. There was no question. She was competent, confident, and respected. She had become everything he insisted she could never be. At the end of his session, he approached her quietly and said, "I misjudged you." It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, but coming from him, it was monumental. Angela didn't hold grudges. She simply replied, "What matters is that we continue to learn from each other." Today, she is known as one of the most admired head nurses in her hospital. She mentors new international nurses, especially Filipinos, because she knows exactly what it feels like to be doubted, dismissed, and underestimated. She believes no nurse should ever have to prove their worth twice, simply because of their nationality. Her journey is now shared among Filipino healthcare communities around the world as a story of perseverance, strength, and quiet triumph. So let me leave you with one important question. Do you believe success is the best answer to unfair judgment? Or is there something more powerful than success, like dignity, patience, or forgiveness? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your opinion might inspire someone who is going through their own struggle right now. And if Angela's story moved you, if it pushed you to believe a little more in your own potential, or if it reminded you that failure can be the beginning of something greater, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need encouragement today. Because you never know, your share could be the spark someone else needs to keep going. Thank you for watching, and remember, no one can measure your worth except you.